Yo, what's up, baby? Let's get some packs opening. Gordon, Sudley, Redright, Egdis, Gigar, Wumple, Blazella, okay. Goodra. How many Goodras do I need? Got a VMAX, a couple. Oh. Another Ducklet. Okay. We got a banger, guys. We got a banger. Solana. Lookity. Ducklet again. Rockwell. Seal. Zagora. Snower. Growler. Oh, ho 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 ho. Zoroka V-Star. Ball from Zoroka V. Look at that V-Star. There's a V-Max. Look at that V-Star, baby. For that sleeve, guys. I bought some sleeves. Gordon, Sudley, Redright, Egdis, Gigar, Wumple, Blazella, okay. Goodra. How many Goodras do I need? Got a VMAX, a couple. Oh. Another Ducklet. Okay. We got a banger, guys. We got a banger. Solana. Lookity. Ducklet again. Rockwell. Seal. Zagora. Snower. Growler. Oh, ho 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 ho. Zoroka V-Star. Ball from Zoroka V. Look at that V-Star. There's a V-Max. Look at that V-Star, baby. For that sleeve, guys. I bought some sleeves. Come on, guys. I need another banger. I need another one. That last card I felt I paid for the 3, maybe not. In for me now, let's go. Maybe me knows one day, baby. Get inside. Which one, baby? Okay. Now the V-Star. Okay. So let's do V-Star attack. Same concept. Super. Got a Riley. A green. Big green. Phantom. Bronzor. Electrike. A Ghastly. Ooh, what was that? What was that? Oh shit. A Sableye. Look at that dude. Star. Hollow. All over, baby. Finger packs. Porygon V. Still a banger with you. And we just pulled. What did we just pull? Where's it at? Yeah. Zorka V. Just pulled that one too. First picks, guys. Just got the pack out of. Just got the pack out of GameStop. Yep. First pack, boys. All right. Here's this next one. So if you're new to the stream, please hit that subscribe button, guys. Support comes from you. That way I can continue to go live, guys. We're on Twitch. Just hit that follow. It's all that free. Totally free, guys. Hit the notification bell when I'm going live. Okay, boys, might be another finger. But if you try. You guys. Pokemon gods. Here we go. Gashbone. Diamond, that's good. Haunter. That's Diamond, that's good. Whirlpool. Poliwhirl. Diamond, that's good. Delta. Delta's always good. Big Bug. I don't think I've seen him. That's good. Phenon. Zora. Paris. No way, dude. Look at that, guys. Dude, look at this. Seriously, guys. Eternus VMAX is one of the most sought after cards right now, guys. I just pulled one of the most sought after cards right now. Look at that. Eternus VMAX. Oh, that's so sexy, dude. Look at that freaking card. Look at that. Wish somebody could clip that right now. Look at that. Gordon, Sudley, Electric, Ignis, Gigar, Wumple, Blazella, okay. Goodra, how many Goodras do I need? Got a VMAX, a couple. Oh. Another ducklet. have a ducklet. Okay. We got a banger, guys. We got a banger. Solana. Look at it. Ducklet again. Rockwell. Seal. Zagora. Snower. Router. Oh, ho, 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 ho. Zoroka V-Star. Ball from Zoroka V. Look at that V-Star. There's a V-Max. Look at that V-Star, baby. Put that sleeve, guys. I bought some sleeves. Come on, guys. I need another banger. I need another one. That last card I thought I paid for the 3, maybe not. In for me now. Let's go. Maybe me knows one good baby. Hit inside. Which one, baby? Okay. Now is the V-Star. Okay. So let's do V-Star in back. Super. Got a Riley. A green. Big green. Phantom. Bronzor. Electrike. A Ghastly. Ooh, what was that? What was that? Oh shit. A Sableye. Look at that. Look at that dude. Star, hollow, all over, baby. Banger packs. Porygon V. Still a banger with you. And we just pulled. Look at we just pulled. Where's it at? Yeah. Zoroka V. Just pulled that one too. First picks, guys. Just got the pack out of. Just got the pack out of. Don't stop. Yep. First pack, boys. All right. Here's this next one. So if you're new to the stream, please hit that subscribe button, guys. Support comes from you. That way I can continue to go live, guys. We're on Twitch. Let's hit that follow. It's all that free. It's all free, guys. Hit the notification bell when I'm going live. Okay, boys, might be another banger. Got the Vishwa. You guys. Pokemon gods. Here we go. Gashbone. Diamond, that's good. Haunter. That's Diamond, that's good. Whirlpool. Poliwhirl. Diamond, that's good. Ducklet. Ducklet's always good. Big Bug. I don't think I've seen him. That's good. Phenon. Zora. Paris. No way, dude. Look at that, guys. Dude, look at this. Seriously, guys. Eternus VMAX is one of the most sought after cards right now, guys. I just pulled one of the most sought after cards right now. Look at that. Eternus VMAX. Oh, that's so sexy, dude. Look at that freaking card. Look at that. Wish somebody could clip that right now. Look at that. That fog, man. You guys are here to see it. I'll see you better. I hear you, Cat. Last pack, boys. Definitely worth the $30. I'll see you in just a second. I'm gonna start calling calls in just a moment. Last card, guys. Last pack. Energy. Lock back in. Silicone. Lady. Ludwig. Phalanx. Polyrag. Alba. Winner. Look at that small axe. Oh my god. Banger. Come on, baby, look at that, dude. What are you waiting on tonight?
Switch to Chrome to stay in sync across devices, so your tabs go everywhere you go. Faster, safer, yours. Get Chrome for Windows.
So the top earners in this country are no longer doctors, lawyers, or bankers. They're people who are quietly making $10,000 to $25,000 a month without climbing the corporate ladder or going back to school. All thanks to the multi-billion-dollar opportunity Amazon has created and is quietly making people rich. How do I know? Well, within 3 years, I've gone from living within my means to quitting my job, building my brand Sidara Skincare to 8 figures in sales, and living a life of total freedom. I also started teaching this to others to see if I got lucky or is my system truly repeatable. It turns out it is. Rio and Melody have both followed my system to generate $50,000 every single month. They live a life of total freedom and they do whatever they want to do. My best friend Dan, who's used this knowledge to go from being fired and almost broke to generating over $100,000 a month and building a 7-figure empire in less than just 1 year. Now, we're not playing by the old, outdated rules. Instead, we're finding simple products like this and selling them on Amazon. If you don't feel like you're getting enough out of life, then I want to invite you to my free training video. This training is the exact training that all my successful students have taken. And really, I answer all the questions. And if you have more questions after, feel free to hop on a call with one of my team members and ask them. Again, this training is totally free, and I go into detail of how to sell on Amazon, how you can set things up, that you can do the work once and build an asset that can pay you 5 to 6 figures a month, only working a few hours a week. And if you think you need qualifications of some sort or business experience to make this work, you don't. You just need the desire to succeed. There are people who started with 0 experience, didn't know a thing about business, and were able to walk away from this training and see the path to a lifestyle they've always dreamt of. So make sure you click on the link, and I'll see you on the other side.
I'm gonna try to beat a Pokemon Sword hardcore Nuzlocke using only ghost types. And that can be pretty tricky since the Nuzlocke rules that I'll be following state that any Pokemon that faints is boxed forever, no items from the bag option are allowed in battle, I must play on set mode, I'm not allowed to level past the next gym leader, and I can of course only capture ghost type Pokemon and only the first one I find in any given area. Now there are a lot of dark type trainers to deal with in this run, which could make it pretty tough for my ghosts, however I will get a chance to use one of my favorites, Dragapult, so let me know what your favorite ghost type is down below, and let's get started. Listen, I'm a huge fan of barbecue, but in the Pokemon world, what exactly are we grilling? And why does poor Wooloo have to watch? Anyway, our adventure begins in the wild area.
Can't look the other way. I'm chasing starlight to find a start away. Breathe it in. It's just now. We're just
try not to talk too loud. Got the roomie sleeping. Alright guys, here we go. Live booster pack openings. I literally got 36 sleeves just because it was cheaper. They had them on sale for $2.99 at GameStop. Let's go, first pack. Yeah, probably open this by the time this is over. It's your original first pack. Looks familiar. Camera sucks dick right now. It's not focusing. Play Pokemon TCG Live. Surpass the point and return. Alright, let's do that. Open it up. Looking at the other night's opening from your perspective. Why was mic? Not mic. The camera. I do have to. What's up with my mic, man? Why can you not hear me ever on this fucking mic? You can never hear me at all. It's like I'm so soft spoken. Maybe that'll be better. Shove it. Shove this. Guys, it's all shoved back there. And enormous V. Oh damn. That's a banger. Need a sleeve. And Electros. That's pretty badass. Push pack 1. Out of 36. I'm not opening them up, depends on how many people jump in here right now. It's just me and you. We'll see. It's again something just gotta hit. Product store. Do 1, 2, 3, 4. That energy out. Coma. A toolbox. China. Select one. Third. Where's that? Fourth one. Where's it? Come on. Sheesh. What the fuck? Yeah, guys, I don't think this is the way to go. It's like nobody. It's hard to get people in this fucking room, man. This chat room. In this fucking stream. This channel. Whatever, dude. Hey guys. Okay. I see you. Adora. Snover. Good job. Pikachu. Uh-oh. Holly Toad. Star. Oh, Holly. Welcome, Holly World. Oh shit. Good draw. Yeah, good draw. V-Star. Holy shit. I see V-Star so far. Oh, no, V-Star so far. Gotta find something different, man. There's only 3 packs now. This might be some damn Fortnite. That's what we're about to be doing. Let's get this Charizard, baby. Non-existent Charizard. Fucking these damn Pokemon cards. Oh, Growlithe. C-Dot.
Atoms fall apart.
Smuggle.
Solar flares arrive. Buildings collapse.
Uh-oh.
Only
Oh,
a few
that's
survive. The
Oh,
world
look,
has
he's got
been
me. Hollow.
will no longer be there. Water is gone.
That's a hit.
A new era has begun. Prepare yourself for the apocalypse. The apocalypse. The heat is scorching.
Canicle.
Forests burned up.
Stuntish.
The sky colors red.
Ryan. Campo.
Volcanoes erupt.
Oh, Rosie.
The world as we know it will no longer be there.
Okay. Okay. Manapod. Okay.
Prepare
Canyon.
yourself.
Okay.
The apocalypse.
Nice one, Eddie.
The apocalypse.
Good, bro. Okay. Dang it. So far. Here's the V-Star. Another V. See ya. Watch out. Check it. Pikachu. Right on. Dude, I used to have this back in the day. Tyrol. Thank you. Okay, fuck it, let's go. Let's go. Cortina V-Star. Oh, let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. Look at that fucking shit, let's go. For sure, that's the best card in the game. Let's fucking go. There's something good about that. Sing a good job. Oh, sounds good. Wide open, baby. Public. Famous. Famous. Okay. 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 See that. No. Okay. English. Okay. 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 Second. Let's move. I'm going down to this range right now. Okay. Okay. What's it? Don't hold up. Keep going. No, CJ. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 27 coming this one. This one. This one passes. 27 coming this one passes. Type set. Sorry, let's go. Bolton. Where's it going? Jinx. Varış. Budur. Buradasın. Evet. Sağda. Böyle. Merhaba. Ninja, Iceland, Hellbent, Highlight, Oddish, Relic, Seed Out, Slipknot, Mean Food, and Mean Zone B. Thank you. Switching. Switch scissors. I like that. 4, 1, 2. I pick you. Same time. Switching. Switching. Flip this. In the hollow mix. Magic Orb. Or, I mean, Magic Orb. Not call good. I'm not call good. Gotta have me go. Zakatina, not gonna be the banger, but any other bangers. Comes out lady. Sit down. two, I will. Quickly. Enter. Quickly. Enter. Go this. Big door. Oh, nice. There's how it's Mom! Look at you. Look my down. Come to. Okay. So, another comfy. Looking almost half of this box.
Comedy routine. At the end of the video, the creator encourages fans to check out their comedy website, which is linked in the description. Do either of these videos violate our community guidelines? True or false? If you fill a video's title, description, or tags with terms or names, such as the names of celebrities, that are unrelated to the video, practices that take advantage of the use of celebrities from a popular late-night TV show. Latest comedy routine. At the end of the video, the guidelines. Pull into visiting. Would that be okay? Done.
Spoiler. Secure. Swap. Credits. Polygon. Polish. Change the wheel. Oh, spectator. Go. One for right hand. Let's see. Artists again.
Back from the dead.
baby. Stony there. You see that? Gengar. Boy. Such a badass card. Scorching Sisters, Poison, Newcastle, Football, yes. Okay, the Fable, Raichu. Man, that Game Ball is sweet. That Game Ball and Patina, so far my favorite. What would be next? Pikachu. Probably. Spinner. Someone's at the top of the graveyard, still open. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, Fox of the Master, Seedra, Riley, Jinx, Infer, Ziggy, and Readers. Guys, I'll be right back.
It hardly ever snows at our house this time of year. My mom says never give up, because the holidays are full of miracles.
You're always there for them, and we're always here for you. Food Lion, here for every moment.
In 1860, a French naturalist was cutting his way through the Cambodian jungle in search of exotic insects. Henri Mouot suddenly came across the last thing he was expecting: a massive complex of stone temples. Mouot had stumbled across one of the world's most astonishing and enduring architectural feats: the 900-year-old remains of Angkor Wat. But who built these vast, sophisticated temples? Why construct them deep in the jungle, only to abandon them? At first, there were no answers. Then, an amazing eyewitness account from the 13th century emerged in China. The author describes the great Temple of Angkor, a fantastic citadel, and its resourceful inhabitants. How could this be true? The evidence was scant. Now science is providing unexpected proof. Archaeologists are applying the latest techniques to reveal the mysteries of Angkor. And radar images from space reveal that Angkor was much bigger than originally imagined. A vast city, the size of London. Scientists now know that Angkor Wat was just a small part of one of the largest and most sophisticated cities in the world. Angkor Wat, one of the world's true enigmas, its size and purpose baffling. Larger than any cathedral, it is truly one of the greatest structures ever built. Its towers, shaped like lotus flowers, were raised 100 years before the Cathedral of Chartres in France. The buildings are laid out on a vast scale, stone shrines ascending one upon the other as if reaching for the heavens. Endless corridors are carved with the longest reliefs in the world. The precise construction would be hard to match even with lasers used by modern surveyors. Archaeologist Charles Hyam has studied all aspects of Angkor and its inhabitants, the Khmer. Professor Hyam has been crucial to understanding the extraordinary history of this ancient culture.
We're standing in the middle of the world's largest religious monument. It's absolutely gigantic. It stretches on and on. Angkor Wat was the temple mausoleum of one of Angkor's greatest kings, King Suryavarman II, the Sun King. And when he died, his ashes would have been placed under the heart of the central lotus tower behind me.
Angkor Wat, meaning Holy Temple, is symbolic in every way. Its vast square moat represents the oceans around Mount Meru, legendary home of the Hindu gods. When Henri Mouot stumbled across Angkor in 1860, he wrote, "One of these temples, a rival to that of Solomon and erected by some ancient Michelangelo, might take an honorable place beside our most beautiful buildings. It is grander than anything left to us by Greece or Rome." The Frenchman suspected that the temples belonged to a huge and sophisticated civilization, but he had no evidence. Angkor Wat lies in the northwest floodplains of Cambodia, just above the Great Lake.
If you love history, then you will love History Hit. Our extensive library of documentary features everything from the ancient origins of our earliest ancestors to the daring mission to sink the Bismarck. History Hit has hundreds of exclusive documentaries with unrivaled access to the world's best historians. We're committed to bringing history fans award-winning documentaries and podcasts that you cannot find anywhere else. Sign up now for a free trial, and Timeline fans get 50% off their first 3 months. Just be sure to use the code TIMELINE at checkout.
When Muo discovered it in 1860, only a handful of Buddhist monks and local villagers lived around the ancient site. None of them knew how Angkor Wat had evolved or who had built it. Legend had it that the Great Temple had built itself. Some said that it had always been there. In Europe, the publication of Muo's journal created a sensation. Soon, a stream of explorers, photographers, and archaeologists traveled east, keen to uncover the mysteries of this vanished world. But Henri Muo's part in this puzzle came to a sudden end. Bitten by a poisonous insect, he died in the jungle a year after discovering the incredible site. As early explorers began to strip away the jungle, they discovered even more temples. The walls of the vast monuments were covered in intricate carvings. These reliefs illustrate legends of an ancient culture and its religion. The sandstone sections were carved in place. They would have taken the artists decades to complete. Inscriptions here are written not only in an ancient Cambodian language, but also, mysteriously, in Sanskrit, the priestly language of the Hindus.
One of the great breakthroughs has been the translation of the entire corpus of Angkorian inscriptions by a French scholar, Georges Sedez, in 7 thick volumes. And so, bit by bit, the actual internal history of Angkor has been unravelled, and that's been absolutely critical.
To the code breakers, they disclosed that for 6 centuries Angkor had been the capital of the Khmer, the indigenous people of Cambodia. Between the 9th and 15th centuries AD, a total of 38 kings ruled their empire from Angkor. Its borders reached from southern Vietnam to Laos, and from the Mekong River to eastern Burma. But whose grand vision was this great city? And why was it built in the middle of the jungle? The deciphering continued. Then an astonishing discovery was made. A junior Chinese official on a diplomatic mission visited Angkor in the summer of 1296 AD. During his year-long visit, Zhou Daguan kept a journal. His diary tells of a major civilization, a capital much bigger and more developed than the archaeologists dared imagine.
Tequila Herradura Ultra Extraordinary awaits.
But was Zhou Daguan's account fact or myth? Archaeologists searched for proof of the existence of the city Zhou described. As they pieced together this gigantic puzzle, the full story began to emerge. For thousands of years, the indigenous people of Cambodia, the Khmer, had cut rice fields from the jungle. These farmers were a largely self-contained and peaceful race. But from the 1st century AD, small feuding kingdoms developed around the country. In the 8th century, a great leader emerged. To find a site for a grand new sacred capital, he abandoned his home city in the Jayavarman's charisma won the people over. He came not only to rule by divine consent, but to be worshipped as a god himself. At a stroke, this great and charismatic leader changed the course of Cambodian history. Over the next 500 years, Jayavarman's descendants, living gods, succeeded him to reign in Angkor. Each king had his own monument built to his glory, destined to become his mausoleum. Since the 2nd century AD, the Khmers had practiced Hinduism. Each of the royal temples is modelled on the 5 peaks of Mount Meru, the home of the Indian gods. For their builders, the shrines were a celebration of religion, art, science, and power. Throughout the first half of the 20th century, Cambodia was part of France's colonial empire. It was they who led the way in piecing Angkor together.
When they arrived and took colonial control of this part of the world, the place was an absolute shambles. I mean, there were stones just lying around everywhere. It was nothing like what you see today. And so they dedicated vast amount of energy and effort into the reconstruction of the temples.
In the 1960s, the eminent archaeologist Bernard-Philippe Grolier made this comparison of Angkor. Imagine that within the city limits of Paris, you found thrown together Versailles, the Place de la Concorde, and the Louvre. Surrounding these, the cathedrals of Notre Dame, Chartres, and Rheims, flanked by all the churches built in Paris before the 19th century. Since Henri Mouhot had first discovered Angkor in 1860, much had been learned about its history. But almost nothing was known about the culture responsible for these incredible monuments. The largest religious monument in the world, the City of the Gods, Angkor Wat in the heart of Cambodia. But is this astonishing temple only the visible tip of a greater unseen mystery? 700 years ago, a junior Chinese official visited Angkor on a diplomatic mission. During his 11-month stay with a Cambodian family, he recorded many aspects of life in Angkor. But Zhou Daguan's account contains several flights of fancy. For instance, he describes the great temple of Angkor Wat as having been built in a single day by a legendary Chinese architect. He was also openly judgmental, referring to his hosts as barbarians. Archaeologists have taken his writings with a pinch of salt.
You've always got to think of it as being seen through the eyes of an educated Chinese, for whom anyone beyond the empire was, by definition, a barbarian. And in reading what he has to say, one has to be, certainly on occasion, judicious in realizing that the prejudices were there.
For 100 years, French archaeologists were too busy restoring the temples to pay the journal much attention, so it was largely ignored. Then, in the 1970s, the murderous regime of Pol Pot stopped all work at Angkor. His army of communist revolutionaries, the Khmer Rouge, laid thousands of landmines around the site, rendering it off limits for years. Now at last, stability has returned to Cambodia, and work on the temples has resumed. Today, Angkor has World Heritage Site protection, with a dozen countries funding archaeological research. With much of the major restoration work complete, the focus has shifted away from the temples at the center and onto the outlying pieces of the puzzle. Just north of Angkor Wat, an 8-mile wall encloses the remains of several magnificent stone temples. Explorer Henri Mouot suspected in 1860 that this was once the Khmer's great capital of Angkor Thom, the holy city. The perfectly square wall, like Angkor Wat, is surrounded by a moat and covers an area the size of Manhattan Island. At its center is the Bayon Temple. In his journal from 1296, Zhou Daguan describes a busy city teeming with life. Archaeologists are now looking for evidence that this is the great metropolis he was describing. But any evidence has all but vanished under dense forest. In the last 2 years, archaeologist Jacques Gaucher has started to excavate the interior of the walled city.
When I started this study, we knew almost nothing because everything was covered in forest. The only surviving features were the stone temples and the foundation of a royal palace, but we knew nothing of the rest of the 900 hectares within the city wall.
For a while, it seemed that Gaucher was fighting a losing battle, but his persistence is at last producing results.
After 2 years of very difficult research, we've at last begun to build an impression of this city.
Gaucher is plotting thousands of coordinates onto an ever more detailed map of Angkor Thom. He is now able to trace an intricate grid system of canals and roads, together with the sites of thousands of wooden houses. Back in 1860, when Henri Mouot discovered Angkor Wat, he had suspected that it was just part of a complex city. Zhou Daguan's 13th century journal alludes to a political and religious citadel. Now, at last, archaeologists have enough evidence to bring to life this extraordinary city as it looked 700 years ago. Angkor was a capital far bigger and far in advance of any European city of the time. Jacques Gaucher's findings confirm the accuracy of Zhou Daguan's account. What he describes is fact, not fantasy.
These are the monuments which have caused merchants from overseas to speak so often of Cambodia the rich and noble. If you are looking for gold lions, gold Buddhas, bronze elephants and bronze horses, this is where you'll find them.
From the inscriptions, archaeologists know that Angkor Thom, the holy city, was built nearly a century before Zhou arrived by the Khmer's greatest monarch. Jayavarman VII ruled over Cambodia between 1181 and 1219. Known as the Great Builder King, he expanded the empire further than any other Khmer ruler. Excavations at the royal palace confirm Zhou's account.
We found evidence that this palace was a large area with interconnecting courtyards and buildings. We found holes 80 centimeters in diameter for huge supporting columns. It would have been a very impressive sight.
As evidence materializes about the royal palace, the role of the Khmer's rulers, these earthly gods, becomes clearer.
Discover makeup inspired by the world of Pandora. Explore artistry from another world. NYX Professional Makeup celebrates with Avatar, The Way of Water, only in theaters, December.
During his stay, Zhou Daguan had several audiences with the ruling king.
Every time I was admitted to the palace for an audience with the king, he came forward with his chief wife and took his place in the embrasure of the golden window in the main audience hall.
Zhou himself came from a culture with a ruler elevated to godhood. The Chinese approved of the Khmer's devotion.
These people know what is due a king.
The king topped a social pyramid that stretched down to the lowest peasant. The monarch's potency showed itself in a legend Zhou Daguan relates.
Out of the palace rises a golden tower, to the top of which the ruler ascends nightly to sleep. It is common belief that in the tower dwells a genie, formed like a serpent with 9 heads, which is lord of the entire kingdom. Every night, the genie appears in the shape of a woman with whom the sovereign couples. Should the genie fail to appear for a single night, it is a sign that the king's death is at hand. If the king should fail to keep his tryst, disaster is sure to follow.
Well, I'm not sure about that. He would have been a fine king had he been able to do that for any length of time. But what we do know is that it's a practice of the aristocrats to send, and the regional landed gentry, as it were, to send up a woman from their family to be a member of the king's entourage, to become a concubine, which would, in a sense, bind the provinces to the centre in a very physical manner. And it wouldn't be surprising if indeed the king did have a very substantial harem from which to choose.
Zhou Daguan notes that the king had 5 wives and a harem of 3,000 women. The king was rarely seen outside the palace, but Zhou describes one such occasion, the New Year festival.
As night comes on, the king is besought to take part in the spectacle. The rockets are fired and the crackers touched off. The rockets can be seen from 13 kilometers away. The firecrackers, large as swivel guns, shake the whole city.
Below the king was an army of bureaucrats graded by rank, as Zhou describes.
In this country, there is a hierarchy of ministers, generals, astronomers, and other functionaries. Beneath these come all sorts of small employees, differing only in name from our own.
These would all have been descendants of families honored by the original Jayavarman, who had founded Angkor 500 years earlier. What is not clear from Zhou's writings is how many people lived in Angkor. Sanskrit inscriptions in temples such as Ta Prohm offer valuable clues.
We know that the temple housed at least 12,000 people, including a number of great priests, I think over 650 dancers and various other officiants to maintain the temple and to do the necessary temple duties.
If 12,000 people served a single temple, what was the overall population? Jacques Gaucher's new research is not yet complete, but it does support an educated guess.
To give a number, this city could have been...
Now suspicions are aroused that the jungle conceals an altogether bigger surprise. A metropolis so vast that its full extent can only be detected from space. The search for the hidden empire of Angkor was about to take an unexpected turn. In 1994, archaeologists persuaded NASA to undertake a unique task. The space agency had developed specialist radar to penetrate vegetation. Their challenge was to probe the area of Angkor in Cambodia as the Space Shuttle Endeavour passed over Southeast Asia. The resulting images cover an area 100 kilometers long and 10 kilometers wide. For the first time, scientists have an accurate impression of the wider city's infrastructure 1,000 years ago. Covering an area the size of London, this rural metropolis was immense. For archaeologist Elizabeth Moore, this is a major breakthrough.
Up into the central statue. I'm sure they had the skill to do it, don't you?
It is revolutionizing understanding of the size of the kingdom.
Forced water up.
And at first people said, well, you won't find anything new at Angkor, but we have. And what the radar has shown us is just how all the regions contributed to what then became the central zone of Angkor.
The radar pictures also reveal previously unknown temples all over the Angkorian basin, as well as an intricate network of roads and canals, all leading to the walled city. Evident for the first time is the grid plan of this once great metropolis.
When you start looking at the radar imagery and you see the sophistication with which they were able to control and alter their terrain, I've never seen a culture like it elsewhere in Southeast Asia in terms of manipulating the landscape, of using it to their benefit.
Now, the challenge for archaeologists was to work out at ground level what had been photographed from space. Archaeologist Christophe Potier is using the images as a route map to trace the layout of ancient Angkor. The newly discovered temples were at the center of their own communities. Just like village churches in Europe, they indicate the size of each settlement, showing the true extent of the metropolis. Today, Potier and his Cambodian assistant, Sin Chenda, attempt to locate a number of previously unrecorded ruins outside the walled city of Angkor Thom.
Wow, super. It's a quite nice one. But it seems to be a Garuda, and you see very clearly the Garuda with his wings is like an eagle, and quite interesting. Unfortunately, it has been badly damaged, but it's nice. And compared to the style, it could be a late 9th century, maybe first part of the. Of the 10th.
Temples like this would have been the centers of villages housing between 100 and 300 people. Potier and his colleagues have established that the number of temple sites like this in the region runs into thousands, suggesting a massive population. There was a direct relationship between these villages and the royal capital. An ancient inscription persuades archaeologists like Charles Hyam of the link.
We know that at least 80,000 or so people from 3,000 villages were assigned to supply all the goods that we needed annually to maintain it in a good condition.
Vast amounts of produce and thousands of people would have been transported from the villages. A complex network of roads leading to the center is evident from the NASA pictures. The inscriptions point to the great builder king, Jayavarman.
Jayavarman VII was a fantastic builder. Across his whole kingdom he had roads constructed. He was a great man for infrastructure, one reason being that he wanted pilgrims to go and visit his places. And so he had rest houses built at one day's journey apart. He moved and shaped more stone than every other Angkorian king combined. And he must go down in world history as one of the great builders of all time.
If all the outlying temples were connected in one giant conurbation, then Angkor can be acknowledged as a rural metropolis, as big as modern-day London. that this metropolis could have had a population of 1 million people. This would make Angkor, at its peak, between the 11th and 13th centuries, one of the largest cities in the world. The indigenous Cambodians, the Khmer, were powerful and successful. They managed to build one of the most extraordinary cities in history in one of the world's most hostile climates. But how was such a large population able to survive and prosper in the heart of an inhospitable jungle? The answer lies in the Khmer's ability to harness their most precious asset. Cambodia has 8 months without rain, when rivers become a muddy trickle. Then, for a few months, the monsoon brings floods. For this reason, Angkor is built close to the Great Lake, which swells to 4 times its size in the rainy season. It not only provided precious water throughout the year, but also an inexhaustible supply of fish. Zhou Daguan records,
"Of all the fish, the black carp is the most abundant. Next in number, the tench and freshwater congers. The prawns of Channan weigh as much as half a kilo apiece. Crocodiles there are as large as boats."
Apart from fish, the staple diet, like most of Asia, was rice. Paddy fields need a plentiful supply of water to ensure a healthy crop. When the founding ruler Jayavarman arrived at Angkor, there were already peasant farmers cultivating ancient rice fields. But from the 9th to the 13th centuries, successive god kings ordered thousands more acres of jungle to be cleared for rice production. Water had to be cleverly harnessed to irrigate the new fields. If the system failed, the very survival of the kingdom would be at stake. Well-maintained canals were also crucial to Angkor. Every day, tons of heavy stones for the construction of temples would be transported by canal from the Kulen Hills, 50 kilometers away. Planning expert Jacques Gaucher believes the success of Angkor is due to the elaborate system of interconnecting waterways.
You have tanks or ponds which are dug to keep also this water, and you have some canalization. This royal palace is full of small canalization. The city is full of channels, and the outside, the territory, is also full of big channels. These systems, which are at different level of scale, they must have been connected to each other.
It was the Khmer's ability to harness water that made them unique. While the Dutch were experimenting with their first canals, the Khmer were already past masters. The most recent excavation by Jacques Gaucher reveals the complexity of Khmer water management within the royal city. His surveys have uncovered 2 huge reservoirs, each measuring 300 meters long and 20 meters wide. A major road intersected them. Water needed to flow around the city. What Gaucher wanted to know was how the road could be used while water still flowed from one reservoir to the other. So he began to dig. The excavation unearthed a stone dike where the road and reservoirs met. It also shows that the reservoirs were built on slightly different levels. Beneath the surface of the road, narrow channels in the dike allow water to filter from the upper reservoir into the lower. But the arrangement may have been too finely balanced.
Playing at such a scale with the management of water, with such small differences of level, I think the system was quite fragile. And if there were any variability in the environment or in the maintenance of the city for social problems or political ones, I think the precision, I mean the ultra sophistication can have been a weakness in the system in a way.
This complex system provided water throughout the royal city for drinking, cooking, and even bathing.
Cambodia is an excessively hot country, and it is impossible to get through the day without bathing several times. There are no bathhouses, no basins. However, every family has a pond, or several families have one in common. Men and women go naked into this